How's it going, guys? Today I'm recording on the go because I'm not at home. I'm actually at college, and I kind of want to normalize recording videos on the go for my channel because it'll make it a lot easier to film consistent content, and it'll overall be a better experience, even though maybe the visual of it is not the greatest thing in the world. At least you'll get content almost every day, which is the goal. And this is not really going to be a self-improvement video. This is going to be more of a story time, which I always thought about doing, and here I finally have a story worth telling that I think has a valuable lesson for you guys to learn. And yeah, so let's jump straight into it. So this story took place yesterday, and I'm going to set the stage by saying I've had my driver's license since last March. So I think it's been about 11 months. I've never had anything like this happen, nothing even close. I've drove through my town and through the surrounding towns thousands of times, and this has never happened. So this story has to do with driving, if you can't already tell. So the story starts with me needing to drop my brother off at his friend's house like I do frequently. So I drop him off, and I realize that the roads are still pretty snowy from the snowstorm that took place the night before. But no big deal. I can handle it, right? I'm a pretty experienced driver, I like to think at this point. So I drive him to his friend's house, incident free, and then I figure instead of going home, let me make a quick pit stop at Whole Foods, because I knew that I was about to leave for college like the next day. So I figured let me pick up some oranges, let me pick up some orange chicken and some other household items. So I'm on my way to Whole Foods, and I'm making my last left until I'm there, and I noticed that there's a police car making a right as I'm making a left. I didn't think very much of it. I said, oh, a police car, no big deal, he's gonna pass. So then I look in my rear view, and I noticed that this police car went from making a right to being right behind me. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe he's going to Whole Foods as well. So I make the left turn, and I notice that he starts flashing his lights at me. He puts on his sirens. And I was like, interesting. I knew I didn't do anything. At least I thought. But then I thought about it, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't think I signaled to make that left turn. So in my mind, I knew that this was the reason why they were pulling me over. And I pulled into the nearest parking lot, put the car in park, opened the window, and I noticed that there was two officers, a female and a male officer. So the female walks up to me and says, license, registration, and insurance, please, just like they do every other time. So I hand them my registration and my insurance, but the only issue is that this was the first mistake I made, that I left my license together with my wallet in my house. So I didn't have my license on me. So this was my first mistake. I did have a picture of it front and back on my phone, but this wasn't ideal situation because I could tell that they were kind of angry about it. So I gave her my phone. She said, I'll see what I can do. Walks away. I wait like a minute, and she comes back and she says, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, no, I don't know why I pulled you over, because I didn't want to sound cocky or anything. I just played it cool, said don't know why, even though I was pretty sure it was because I didn't signal. But actually, to my surprise, it wasn't that. She said, you have snow on your roof and covering your license plate, so we pulled you over for that reason, because it could be a danger to the other cars. I said, wow, never heard of that rule before, and I'm surprised, but whatever, I'll take it. It's better than me not signaling, because what are they going to do for that? I knew right away that it wasn't going to be a huge deal. So she walks away again, and then the male police officer comes over and he starts questioning me. He asks me, "Why don't you have your license?" I said, "I honestly forgot it. Like, there's no deep reason here. I was right down the street driving to Whole Foods, forgot my wallet because I use Apple Pay in Whole Foods, and, I thought it was no big deal." But he continues asking me questions. He asked me, "Where do you live? Where are you going?" So I said, "I'm going to Whole Foods." And he says, "Why are you going to Whole Foods?" So at this point, I'm thinking in my head, okay, everyone knows why someone would go to Whole Foods. Now he's just trying to build a case, right? He's case building on me. So now I'm getting confused and a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie. So I answer his questions. I'm going to Whole Foods to buy groceries, yada, yada, yada. And then he says, okay, and he walks away again. Then I noticed that another police car pulls up to the scene. And I'm like, okay, this is great. Like, here we go. Here, it's finally happening. So, this first guy and this other guy both come up to me. And they asked me a bunch of even harder questions. They asked me if I've ever been in trouble in school with the cops, or if I've ever been in trouble throughout my life in general. And I said, no, I've never been in trouble in my entire life. I'm an upstanding citizen, yada, yada. They asked me if I'm on any prescription drugs or if I'm on alcohol, I think they said too. And I said, no, I've never done drugs in my entire life. Don't know anything about them, I'm not into drugs at all. So, apparently whatever I was saying was making them even more suspicious. So at this point, I'm starting to get angry. I'm starting to be like, okay, why am I answering all these questions? Because I had snow on top of my car. This is actually ridiculous. So it all culminated when the first officer walks up to me and says, please step out of the vehicle. I need to check something. And I was appalled. I was like, what? Like, how could you ask me to do that? To me, that was just crazy. So, he was like, we need to check something. So I get out of the car, and as I'm getting out of the car, he asked me, have you had any injuries lately? And I said, no, but I do have a disability, so if you're gonna discriminate me based on that, we're gonna have a problem here. So at this point, I could see that he kind of calmed down, / maybe even got a little bit nervous because, they don't want to go after someone because of things that they can't control. They're just trying to do their job. At least I would hope, right? So he says, yes, of course, we're not discriminating you based on that. And I'm definitely going to make a video on my disability. Don't worry, guys. I haven't forgotten about it. But I just haven't really gotten around to it. Plus, I want to amass a pretty decent following before I do that, because I feel like that's going to be a pretty great resource for pretty much everyone in my life and for me as well. So I'm holding off on that one. But I will explain it in the very near future, especially since I brought it up. I'm definitely going to talk about it. So he says, no, it's not that. And he makes me do this eye test where I follow his finger as he moves it without moving my head. And I think I passed. I'm not really even sure. After I said that I had a disability, I think he understood what was going on. But, so I get back in the car and I ask the second officer, I say, what was all that about? And he says that basically my pupils were pinpoint, meaning that they were very, very small circles, and they were looking straight ahead. And I was like, you know what? There's nothing I can do about that. That's just how my eyes are. And he said, yeah, some people have these eyes naturally. And overall, it really didn't make sense because I've never heard of this in my entire life. But basically after that, they let me go, but it was unclear if they were actually getting suspicious about my eyes or about my movement. They said it was my eyes, but I think they might have been covering their tracks. The bottom line is, and the moral of the story here is that it's not worth your time and energy to get angry about a clear misunderstanding such as this. Like, if I wouldn't have kept my cool and I would have freaked out, everything would have been much worse off. So I'm glad that I kept my composure, kept it chill, kept it cool, and overall, kind of a dickhead move on these policemen. I'm actually pretty angry about it, but overall, it is what it is. You can't control what other people do, and if you care about what everyone thinks, it'll haunt you. If you really just are secure with yourself and don't care, you'll just brush it off. So that's pretty much the end of the video here and the end of the story overall. But I do like making these videos because they're very chill and I can just kind of talk to the camera. I think this might even be my longest video yet, which is kind of crazy. But before I rant on till the end of time, appreciate the support as always. Let me know if you like these storytime style videos in the comments down below. And yeah, guys, I'll speak to you soon. Adios.